lights, cameras, action. Now let's engage in the dialogue. Let me browse through your mind like a catalog. Conscious metaphysics, allow me to break down the specifics. Educate, motivate. If you don't feel free, you can liberate. An LLC is what I'm building, the #1 podcast in the building. So let me slide on up in the Bentley truck in my Versace shirts. They can't get enough of this deep conversation, expansion, elevation. I'll send you a link you can tap in. It ain't quite what I used to do back then. Now I get it on the front and the back end. Multiple money streams keep coming in. Enlighten, empower, evolve. Enlighten, empower, evolve.
Just in time. Greetings, everyone. I'm Luke Bryan Smith, and welcome to Enlighten, Empowered, Evolve. I believe everyone's doing well, and everything is unfolding perfectly. Man, I'm gonna do this different today. I'm gonna do a remix and change this up. I got this king. I like to refer to him as this brother back for the second time. And for those of you, before I even say his name, for those of you that haven't seen the first episode, I advise you after watching this to go and see it. And I entitled it Through Adversities to Waking Up. And the reason why I did that is because this brother, he told me about some things, man. He just that it was very heartfelt, and basically it inspired me. You know, he woke up through some experience, some adversities that he encountered, and you just got to watch it. But without further ado, I introduce to you Marques Clark, but you know him as Chef Omaka. Yeah. How you doing there, King?
I'm doing wonderful once again, King. I appreciate you for bringing me back for the second time. This is an awesome opportunity. I really wanted to finish our conversation, because it was good, and I just felt like it was a great, chance to shine the light on some things. And so I really appreciate you, King, for real.
Yes. And the feeling is mutual. That's a sign to me that you're having a very empowering conversation when that time just flies by like that so fast, and that, and like I said, I want to leave people wanting more. And that's why I believe that this is a beginning of a connection that we're going to have. We're going to do more episodes. So I'm going to have to start numbering them now so that people know, okay, seeing him, one time, I'm going to put number 2 on this one, as well as a title, whatever comes up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, before we even start, I just want to let people know that I ordered your latest book, and I just wanted to show it a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I haven't started reading it yet because I'm finishing up another book, but this is my next book that I'm going to read. So I told you, get it, and I'm a man of my word. This book is beautiful. It's a beautiful book, and I can't wait to dive into it. So I want to even before reading it, just knowing a little bit of your mindset and your energy. I know it's an amazing book already, and I just want to suggest to people to go on Amazon and get that.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, King. Appreciate the love, appreciate the support, man. This is blowing me away.
Absolutely.
I'm all right.
No, we good, man.
I'm lost for words, man. I'm lost for words.
Yes, sir. So this is your show today. I mean, it was the last time, but what do you want to dive into? Now, I introduced you last time, and I forgot to even say that, as a worldwide international humanitarian. I mean, but I don't like to even put titles on people. I just say this is just part of who you are, because author, philanthropist. Philosopher. Just see, it just, the list goes on. So
I'll start right. I'll actually start right there, King, because one of the things that I love to do is humanitarian work. Part of what I do back here where I live in St. Pete, Florida, is I found it, and I'm glad I get this opportunity to talk about this, because I didn't last time. Last time was more my personal background story, but this time I really want to shine a light on the work that I'm doing, and that is my nonprofit organization that I it's called Yes Chef Village, and that's an organization founded somewhere around 2014, but I kind of never really pushed it and pursued after it because I was interested in other things, speaking and writing books and stuff like that. And life kind of got in the way of the nonprofit idea. And so 2022, I decided that along with my book that you have, Greyhound Love, that book also got started 10 years ago. I had put a lot of things on the back burner, but I decided 2022, it was time to bring the story of Madden, who's the character in the book. It was time to bring the story of him alive, and it was time to bring the Yes Chef Village nonprofit organization to the forefront. And the reason why I decided to go that route, because I had been doing a lot of speaking, and that was my bread and butter. But when I went the nonprofit route, I decided, I knew it wasn't going to be as lucrative as, in the beginning, but the work that I'm called to do is my passion, and that's cooking. I love cooking. Now I can cook any day of the week. I love to talk about recipes. And let me expound on Yes Chef Village a bit. It actually means Youth Enrichment Services, Children's Healthier Eating Foundation. So we teach healthy nutrition. We teach education of food and nutrition through our outdoor dining experiences. Our outdoor dining experience event is called Village Supper. As a world humanitarian, I travel around the world. I'll be going to the Philippines next Thursday and launching the first international Village Supper. So when I go out into the world, I go into the villages. I don't go to the cities. I don't go to the tourist spots.
Right.
I want to get connected to the people, because that's where the culture is. That's where the rich history of the people are. That's where you're going to get the stories of where people are really tapped into their history, their ancestors, their ways and traditions, their customs. Those things don't get lost in the village. And so Village Supper came alive because, being one of 8 children, we never had money to go out and eat. My family, we never experienced eating out as a family. To say, have you ever ate out as a child? I'd be like, what is eating out? Like, what is a restaurant? We never seen the inside of a restaurant. But being with my family growing up, one of the things we cultivated in our home was community. So my mama was raised in a village within our own home. So that mindset, that's my mindset. That's what I know, village. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? And let me just hit a pause button just real quick. Keep your train of thought, but I just had to share this with you. It's ironic because I grew up, I spent a lot of my younger years in the Midwest, in Ohio, in a small town, at the time, small city called Lima, Lima, not Lima, but Lima, Ohio. And the projects that we lived in were called the Village. They were called the Village.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
You live in the Village? Yeah, we live in the Village. Yep.
Wow.
I don't know if they still have it now. They may, but yeah, back then, yeah, it was, yeah. And we knew everybody down there too.
I think that's just it though, right? In our, when you look inside the Black community, when you look inside Black culture, you know what I'm saying? Even in the entertainment world, and I've experienced this in jobs that I've had. You ever had an experience, right? You walk past a brother and immediately, or you go to work at a job and there's another brother on the job, and it's like immediately there's a bond there. Like you accept each other.
Yeah.
You ain't even gotta say it. You ain't even gotta, it's an unspoken.
You just look at each other. Sometimes you don't even say nothing. You just look. And you give each other that look. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's like, okay. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? There's a code there where when you see somebody, especially that look like you, that come from similar backgrounds you come from, there's a code there that's almost like brotherly. There's a respect there that's almost like family. And I believe that's really imparted in our DNA. That comes from our ancestors, because when we look back at the history of who we are, we lived in villages. You know what I'm saying? We didn't live separate of each other. We lived close together with each other. And so part of what my upbringing and what I'm doing with Yes Chef Village is bringing the tradition of not just the family, but the togetherness, the community back together. And so every month, once a month, we host these outdoor suppers in this beautiful place called the Gulfport Food Forest, where every tree you look at is food. It's got something on it growing that you can eat. You know, every plant in the ground there in the food forest you can eat from. And so we're teaching traditional ways of eating again, how we get back to the family, how we come together and eat as one, because there's nothing more sacred to me than the breaking of bread with somebody.
With someone. Like, yes, absolutely. That's powerful right there. I'm glad you said that, because you doing what you're doing, and it's based around food and the culinary experience, and then you have a passion for cooking. I can't even imagine anything more powerful than applying food, your passion, ancestral traditions, people, love. That to me spells love. It just love to me. That's what I hear. It's all love. Feel when you say that.
It's all love. I tell you what, you know, when I look at it, like I said, you know, when we host our monthly suppers, we're bringing people together. It doesn't matter, right? We don't turn no one away who's hungry. Anybody of any race, any color, you come, you eat. You know what I mean? Right. But what you're feeling, what you're going to get, you know, is you're going to get a bond. You're going to connect with people. And Village Supper is really all about the stories that we tell. You know what I mean? When I was a kid, me and my sisters and my brother, we would come together at the dinner table. We were young, but we had stories from different, you know, it's like, how you come up with these stories? It's like, we go to school, we come home, we go outside with our friends, and we all come back together to eat, and we're sharing these stories. It was kind of crazy how all of us had something different to say, but at that dinner table, at the supper where we eat together at, that's a moment where we're bonding and we're connecting. So, you know, I've only watched my mama do this. I've only grew up in this. So what I'm doing now is really just, you know, finishing the work my mama started within me. You know what I'm saying?
You know, so that's amazing too. And I gotta say this, and I'm not trying to interrupt you, but you
no, go for it.
Yeah, I just want to elaborate on certain things that you say. What you're doing, bringing back the storytelling over food and family, that right there is what we need, because a lot of that's been lost. You know, I can't speak for everyone, but from my perspective, what I've seen, even experienced myself, a lot of that's been lost. And you spoke about early on having a lot of stories to tell, and I interpret it like this: life was a lot newer then, so every experience was exciting. So we got to get back to feeling like every experience is exciting and wanting to talk about it and you know, and share stories and get different perspectives and be open, you know, not saying we got to agree on everything, but even then, just letting it flow. Yeah. And just saying, you know, I understand that. That's maybe not the way I would do it. I'm just saying, if it even gets into that. Yeah. Because sharing a story is sharing a story. But then when you ask opinions or people oftentimes put their opinions in things. So just, you know, getting to the point where we can communicate with each other and keep it like you said, all love, where we can give and accept different perspectives without necessarily losing our own perspectives and integrity. So that's amazing that to me, that's very powerful and amazing that you're doing that, man. Thank you. I mean, you just keep on adding jewel after jewel. I mean, the first layer that I got, you enjoy cooking, the storytelling, the bringing the family together, the going into the villages, and you know, the people. I mean, just layer after layer. Then bringing testimonies and stories together over a meal, and just listening. To me, that creates bond. Yes, that's what we need. That.
Yeah, you know, we talk about healing a lot within our communities, whether they be black or white. We talk about healing a whole lot, right? And one of the ways that I grew up knowing food was the healing cause of a lot, because when you got food on your stomach, you can have a conversation a lot easier. You know what I'm saying? But when you hungry and you starving and you ain't got no food, you know,
that's all you can think about.
You can't even hear. You
can't even
literally
focus.
can't hear anything. And
Right.
so I feel like in order for us to be heard, even with our differences, whether we believe religiously different, you know, whether politically we believe different, it doesn't matter. But in order for us to be heard, we got to do that where, first of all, we're getting nourished, we're getting poured back into. So that way, when I'm outpouring my thoughts and I'm outpouring my beliefs, you can absorb them without feeling like it's an attack. You're just hearing me because you're sitting in a position where you're being nourished by something other than my opinions. You're being nourished by good food. So you're able to accept.
So you're a little bit more open.
A little bit more open.
When somebody has had a good meal, they are a little bit more open.
Absolutely.
And
all deals are made over a meal.
If you're hungry, you're right. Some meals,
all deals,
something to drink, maybe, you know, if that's your thing. But like you said, the basis is nutrition meal, something good to eat. And I think after like you said, after a good meal, you're more open, you know, to listen to different perspectives. And that's amazing that you have, you know, that you are highlighting that fact. That's a fact. You know, that's not something that's we think. No, we know. Everyone has experience, and you even have experience with yourself that you are in a better headspace after you've had a good meal. And that's why a lot of families, even, you know, historically, after they eat, get together, you know, and around the fire or whatever, and tell stories and talk and share. And even during the meal, you know, that's why it's important to get your family at the table. Put all those devices away at the table. You know, that's what I say to my children at the table too. Put those down.
Yes, put the devices away.
Put those down. You can get to them when you get done. You know, or whether they disagree or not at the time, it is what it is.
And they'll thank me
for it later. Later.
Later.
My father always made sure that we bonded at the table. Let me hear about what happened at school. Let me hear about, you know. Whether they're this because they want to get back to them games, but I mean, at least they know what it is. Oftentimes I don't even have to say anything. I just look and they know. Oh, put that away.
You know, I gotta tell you, Luke. You know, that's that whole Yes Chef thing. The passion behind it is my mother, but what continues to drive me toward change is this. One day I went to my son's school. And I went to go have lunch with my son, and he brought his tray out. When he brought out his tray, you know, I saw on his tray, it was some chicken nuggets. They were hard, and he had a bag of like a Taki chips, and I saw like this, you know, little juice container, and I said to myself, I said, you know, I was literally livid when I saw what they was feeding my kids, because I don't really go to my kids' school for lunch and sit with them and eat most of the time. But when I did that day, I said, oh yeah, things got to change now. Yes. And that's what drives me now, because I was livid when I saw that tray. Because if you look around the world, and I mean, do this, look around the world and look at what other kids are eating. The food has nutritional value in it.
Right.
There's no nutritional value in the food that they're feeding our kids
chicken nuggets
today. No nutritional value. Processed food. I mean, oversaturated foods and all these kinds of cholesterol. You want to talk about dementia, you want to talk about autism, you want to talk about ADHD, all these things, everything derives from nutrition. Everything derives from the proper nutrition. If we're not getting the proper nutrition, then you're going to have a child ADHD, because you're feeding him things with 46 grams of sugar in it. You know what I'm saying? Cholesterol,
high blood pressure.
High blood pressure causing food, diabetes causing food. So what we do is we bring nutrition back to the conversation. What is going to get rid of childhood obesity? What is going to rid our communities and our homes of childhood diabetes? What is going to rid them of mental health? It's going to be in the food, because our food comes, it's the source of life. It's the source of life. If we're not eating well, we're not thinking well, period. You know what I'm saying? And so we got to get back to, number one, we got to change up how our kids are eating in the schools. We got to change that up. But we can do it at home, but the schools are only perpetuating the sickness and the disease of it. Because if we talk about how much can you get an apple for versus, you know, how much can you get some candy for, you're going to look at the difference in price. You know what I'm saying? An apple is going to cost you more than a bag of gummies. You know what I'm saying? So that's where we're doing a great disservice to our children. And no wonder why, you know, these numbers are all the way up when it comes to childhood obesity, childhood diabetes. No wonder why these numbers are in mental health. Our children are dealing with, listen, if a child is hungry because they're not getting the proper nutrition, they're going to start thinking of ways to go about feeding themselves. Watch this. Not physically, but mentally and emotionally, because they're also being impacted by food. If it's not the proper nutrition, it's impacting their mental and emotional state as well. So most children, these ones that we call at-risk teens, these ones that are adolescent, you know, misfits, the ones that get in trouble. Listen, go and look at their diet. I guarantee you, if you look at the diet,
there's a connection.
It's a connection. You will find out why children have these problems. Why? Listen, a 6-year-old boy, they say he's ADHD. Why would you diagnose a 6-year-old boy ADHD? Where does that even come from? Calling a child ADHD. He's a child.
Especially when you look at the records historically, and that used to not even be in the picture. You know, like
absolutely
happened. So what has changed since then? Our food,
our food.
Our food is made for instead of made to feed us nutrition,
nourish
the food that it nourishes us. It's made for money.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you got
food is money.
You got the pharmaceutical. You got the pharmaceutical. How many kids today, right now? And I used to mentor kids, at-risk kids in the school systems here in Florida. And I can tell you, I mean, some of the teachers, these were 5th graders I was mentoring. Some of the teachers were scared of these kids. And I say, why are you scared of these kids? Because they blame they don't have a father at home. They blame they don't have any guidance. They blame, but everybody, once again, is not looking at what's happening at home. Now, you can have no father, but also, what else is a factor? Well, the mama's poor on welfare using government stamps. So her money can't go but so far, and also she don't have the access to healthy nutritional foods like most people do. She may not have a vehicle. Growing up, we didn't have a car. So my mama had to go to the local convenience store to feed us. My mama had to go to catch a bus to go to the grocery store to get food and catch a bus back to feed us. But we're talking about a grocery store within our community almost. To go get the healthy nutritional food, you got to go outside of the community. So a lot of these people,
yes, you do.
A lot of teachers are scared of these kids today and blaming it on behavior. Well, I can guarantee you, if you look at what they're eating, you'll figure out why they behave the way they're behaving. Because sugar is a drug to the brain. You understand?
Awareness.
That's
what you're teaching us right now. Awareness.
Right.
Of that, because I never thought of it that way. Yeah.
How fructose corn syrup is in everything. They drink sodas, they drink these juices, all that stuff is in. This stuff is not, your body cannot process this stuff.
Right.
So what it does is it eat away at it because the body cannot recognize it as nutrition and to process it to do with it what it's supposed to naturally do with it.
So now all kind of glitches in your brain, in your body. I get it.
Hey, that's wondering why these kids are hyped up, wondering why these kids are on Ritalin, on Adderall, on obese, on all kinds of drugs. So we get rid of that's why it's called Food and Drug, the FDA, Food and Drug Administration.
They connect those.
They connect. food and drugs. So you give them the wrong foods, you give them the right, you give them the drugs. But where does your drugs come from?
Right.
Your drugs come from the plants. Your drugs come from nutrition. Your drugs come from nature.
Right. Right.
So if
Stuff
you
that
get
they
rid
in
of
there.
the synthetics is also I said one time. You know, you get on these medications. You know, they tell you about all the side effects to these medications, and you need medication for your medication.
You need medication from the food that you eat,
right?
Which benefits the system. You know,
absolutely.
That's
You the prison systems
podcast, but it benefits more. So that's why I think, in my perspective, why the government is not doing anything about the nutrition, because you know it's capitalism. It's money. It's money either way. You know,
absolutely.
Ill health is money. Ill health is money. That equates to pharmaceuticals. That equates to hospitals making money, doctors, whatever. That equates to the machine.
Listen. Without sick people, you don't have hospitals. Come on, let's be real. But I must say this again, and let me say this first. Nothing is hereditary. Nothing is passed down through lineage when it comes to your sickness and disease is not hereditary. You do not inherit it. You inherit it. You inherit bad habits. You inherit bad habits. But all this stuff is in your DNA. They'll tell you. And so when they feed you the food they feed you, that's a bad habit. You're eating out of bad habits. You're not eating out of information. You're not eating out of knowledge. You're not eating out of what you've been taught. You're eating out of what you haven't been taught.
Right. Because I had that same conversation as well the other day with some friends, when I expressed to them that have always been told, you know, bad knees, bad backs running my family. No, but then when I see something that connects with that is obesity, and it's not good eating, and this so-called, I mean, I have to say it, soul food, which is really not soul food. It's really, you know, a lot of lard and a lot of stuff that's not
grave food.
It's slave food and not good for us.
Food and grave foods, taking you to the grave.
So what I noticed about, you know, all those things is, you know, everyone that had bad backs, bad knees in my family, overweight, not eating good, you know, no exercise, no good nutrition, and that's what it is. And then we get told, oh, this just runs in your family. Oh, this high blood pressure just run. No, it's not that. No, it's not that. It's them habits. You eat messed up food. You stressed out. You not take care of, and all that contributes. It don't just get handed down. And like you said, I believe that I know it. That what you're saying is straight facts. It's not hereditary.
And Luke, I will also say that everything is tied to nature, right? And so we have to also understand that we got to get outside and get sunlight. We got to get outside and get our feet planted in the earth. We got to. This is where your vitamins and your minerals are. Your minerals are in the earth, and your vitamin is in the sun. Your sun is the vitamin that you need, and the earth is the minerals. So when we talk about vitamins and minerals, when we talk about eating supplements and stuff like that, you don't need no supplement. You don't need nothing to supplement what you get naturally. Go outside and get it from the earth. Everything that you need, the Creator has provided for you naturally. We are not an incomplete species. You know what I'm saying? We're not an incomplete being. We're a creation. We were created perfectly made. We're perfectly made in the image and in the likeness of God. And this is not Bible. This is not speech. This is not preaching. This is me speaking who we are naturally. We are naturally created to
feel that in here.
Absolutely. And you can feel it when you get outside. You can feel it when you ground yourself. You can feel it when you go to the woods and you get alone and your thoughts get clear. You can feel it when you go into the ocean and you just submerge yourself in that water. Talking about getting baptized. What does it mean to be baptized? It means to be renewed, reborn. You understand what I'm saying? When you going through some crazy stuff, go to the ocean, go to the lakes, go to the rivers, and get your feet inside that water so that you can enter the womb again of your mother, so you can be reborn again. because this is where life comes from. Life comes from the water, because that's what you're made of. Life comes from the trees, the earth. That's why we eat outside. We don't eat it. My mama told me growing up, animals eat outside. My mama used to tell me that. I love her to death. She knows I do. But my mama used to always say, boy, get inside and eat. Only animals eat outside. But I'm telling my mama, like, Mom, look, it's best we eat outside, because our food comes from outside. Our food comes from, where do our food come from? Outside. Come on.
And it's something about eating in nature. I mean, it's something different too. Like, I mean, if even when you think about it, when you go to family barbecues or picnics, it just feels so good to eat outside.
Come on now. Look, I'm telling you right now,
under the sky,
the things that we have to change are not, you don't need a class on or a course on. The things that we have to change are simple and natural when we awaken ourselves to our own thoughts. First of all, what you need to do is listen to yourself or your soul. Your cells are speaking. Your cells is yourself. Your cells are speaking. Listen to yourself. CELLF. Listen to yourself, and it will tell you when you're feeling stressed. Your cells are a little community of its own. You know what I'm saying? They carry thoughts, they carry energy, they carry the way of the world within them. All the information God is and God has is right within you, because nothing is separate. Everything is connected, Luke. Everything.
I believe that. Yes, that's amazing, man. And you just, wow, you just breaking it down for us, and just inspiring and educating and reminding us of what's in here. And it's just amazing. So you taking a trip to the Philippines to feed. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about like, before you go, because we're about to wrap up here soon, but what kind of what is your favorite thing to prepare? I mean, I'm getting down to the food now, because you're making me hungry. So
listen, I just left the Ronald McDonald House right before I came to you, and I did a service for the children and families there. I cooked the meal. To me, it sounds so simple, but it's something I grew up eating a lot. I found a way to turn it into a highly nutritional meal, and that is shepherd's pie, man.
Oh, shepherd's pie.
I can make it. I can make shepherd's pie 10 different ways. You know what I mean? My mama was like, we called it potato turbot. That's what we called it. Shepherd's pie was something I was new to when I was like in high school. I was like, what is shepherd's pie? People say, potato turbot is what my mama and us called it. So, but shepherd's pie, I can make it. I've made a sweet potato shepherd's pie. I made a beef. I made a chicken. I did all kinds of ways. And to me, my favorite meal to prepare is a home cooked meal. It's something that gives you, it reminds you of home. You know what I mean? And so shepherd's pie is the one that I always go to. I can make it so good. You be like, I never had it this way. Yeah, because I put a different touch on it. I put a different.
You put your own flavor.
It's my own recipe, but I love it and it's good. And so I go right there with it. You know what I mean? That's how I do it.
Is that what you're gonna make when you go to the Philippines?
Oh no. You know what? I'm actually going over there to kind of collaborate with them and pick up some new recipes myself. So I'm going to learn. I'm a student always first before I'm a teacher. I'm going to learn, and then I'm going to implement maybe a finer touch to it, just to give them that added fine dining experience to it, that gourmet experience to it. So although they know what they're doing, they have all the traditional recipes. I don't really know much about their recipes. I've eaten a lot of their food, but I want to go over there, learn from them, and see how I can put a twist to it back here when I come home, so I can introduce it to my village here.
And see right there, that you just said it all right there, because when I think about like a refined chef, I want a chef that has traveled around and experienced other cultures that got, different seasonings, tried out different seasonings, flavors, cultures, traditions. And that to me Yeah, that's a real chef.
Absolutely.
Not saying that any
Absolutely.
other chef that hasn't done that can't cook.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying my preference. And when
Yeah, absolutely.
I like
Yeah,
chefs that travel and
yeah.
get some culture from different places and some different flavors, and
Wow, yeah. That's kind of like the story of Madden. I'm not gonna give the book away because you got it. I want you to read it. But Madden is that kind of guy, you know what I'm saying? Madden and Greyhound Love, he's the kind of guy where he's a traveler, he's a nomad, he's a vagabond. He the earth is his home, and wherever there's a warmth at is where he sleeps. So, but he travels and he collects them stories, man. He comes back with those stories. He just finds himself growing in community with people all over the world because he's leaning himself, he's surrendering himself to the people of the world, and not just trying to go in with, I know everything, there's knowledge, he got it all. He's going in as a student, but really learning so much as a young man coming up in the world. And that's kind of like, not that book, but my personal journey as well.
That's what I was gonna say. That's actually you.
Yeah. It's like, hey, listen, go and learn, go and bring back the stories. To me, it's the stories that's the most important. Like, the food is good, and I've emphasized the food, but what's food without the beautiful stories behind it?
Right.
Without the millions or the thousands of years these recipes have been in tradition.
Right.
That to me
just inspired me to say this, just something random, but it's connected to that. But to be a good teacher, you have to be a good student. Those go hand in hand. And I like to always refer to myself as a student teacher, or a teacher student. I teach what I learn, but then I keep learning so that I can teach.
It never stops.
It
never ends. It never ends.
When I'm on these podcasts, I consider myself a teacher and a student simultaneously. Like, I'm learning things from you that I don't know, and then possibly I could say something to you that you didn't know. So we both are students and teachers interacting with each other, and I think that's amazing, man. And
I heard it once. They say, the moment you think you know it all, you find out that you know little, you know nothing.
Right.
The moment you think you know it all, because you can't know it all. How can you?
It's always going to be something more that or someone else that knows more than you, or not even just more, but just something different than you. There's always going to be different views and vantage points and perspectives, even on the same thing. You can just, like you said, even that shepherd's pie, there's so many different ways to make it. You don't know them all.
I don't know them all. Right.
You don't know them all.
I want to leave your audience with this thought, Luke. When you think about something, I want to leave your audience with this. Have your audience just look around the world. Just, even if they don't travel, just take your mind outside of where you're at here and go visit other places mentally. Like, put on YouTube and watch some things, and show me where most of these other nations are obese at. And I'm not talking like in the West. I'm talking about in the East, right? You don't see obese Africans, you know what I'm saying? Like on a large scale.
On a large scale, on a high percentage.
In a high percentage. You don't see obese Asians, and you know that these people live long. You ever heard of the what is it called? The blue something? It's something called the blue something, where these people live, blue spaces or something like that, where people live to 100+ years old. Right. You know what I mean? Because
and that don't even equate to like their status or money or anything like that.
No,
these
people are not wealthy.
They're not.
These people are not wealthy. These are your everyday average village folks. You know what I mean? What's keeping them healthy is community. This is why I make and emphasize the importance of community in your chef village, because what's making them healthy is being in community with each other, being in communion. And I can break the word communion all the way down, and it just becomes the word one. To be in communion is to be in union. Union means one, and so we want to be in union with each other. You know what I mean? Everywhere we go, find yourself in union with another. You know what I mean? And I want to leave your audience with that. Look at the world and experience the world outside your own space.
Amazing. Thank you, Chef Omaka. Omaka.
Omaka, yep.
Omaka. Thank you, Chef Omaka. Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Hit that like button, that subscribe, spread it. Go get the book, Amazon, go get it. Look at my
Greyhound
website,
love, baby. Greyhound love.
empower.com. Get it.
Yes.
See you soon.
Yes.
Love you.
Appreciate you, King. Thank you, Luke.
Got it.
Yes.